The swirling waters, still humming with the aftershocks of a profound magic, began to settle. Where moments before Mother Salt's colossal, consuming form had stood, now only the vast, deep blue stretched, shimmering under the newly cleansed sky. But as the last vestiges of her power dissipated, something else began to rise from the depths, not with thunderous roars or blinding light, but with an ancient, resonant calm. They emerged, one by one, figures of sculpted water and living light, embodiments of the ocean's primordial power. These were the sea gods, freed at last from their long, chilling imprisonment. Their eyes, deep as forgotten trenches and wise as the eons, swept across the landscape, settling finally on Arthur. There was no need for words, no dramatic declarations of gratitude. Their presence alone was an acknowledgement, a silent symphony of immense power, humbled by a deed of pure, selfless courage. Arthur stood there, not as a king, but as a weary warrior, his gaze meeting theirs. A profound, almost overwhelming sense of peace began to settle over the restored shores. The air itself seemed to breathe easier, carrying the scent of salt and liberation. As the closest of the deities, a being of serene, kelp-green light and flowing form, extended a hand, the others followed suit. Their touch was not forceful, but a gentle, resonant connection. As their ancient energies flowed, intricate patterns began to bloom on Arthur's skin. Not simply lines or symbols, but living designs that pulsed with the rhythm of the tides and the light of distant stars. These were no ordinary marks. They were the sea god's gift, woven from memory and magic. And with each intricate line that settled onto his skin, fragments of Arthur's past, once clouded or lost, snapped into vibrant focus. A forgotten face, a whispered promise, the warmth of a specific sun on his skin. Piece by piece, his complete self was being restored. It was a profound act of healing, a recognition that to truly be whole, a hero must also remember all that he has been. This gift was not merely a reward for bravery, but a restoration of his essence, a tacit understanding that his own sacrifice had cost him parts of himself that only they, the Ancient Ones, could return. The gods understood that true heroism often leaves scars, and they offered a way to mend those unseen wounds. As Arthur stood, absorbing the profound truth of his past, the sea gods, in a gesture so subtle it might have been missed by anyone not paying the closest attention, turned their gaze, not to the cheering crowds or the dignitaries beginning to gather, but to a figure standing quietly to Arthur's side, his friend Wee. There was a moment, a barely perceptible shift in the ancient being's focus, a shared glance among them, then one of the more ancient, a being whose form shimmered with the luminescence of the deep sea, moved closer to Wee. Its voice, when it spoke, was not the thunder of the ocean, but a quiet, resonant hum, a whisper meant for Wee's ears alone. It was a confidence, a truth imparted in the space between heartbeats. He was, the Ancient One conveyed, its voice like the gentle lapping of waves on a distant shore, is, and always will be, a hero and a friend. Wee's eyes widened, understanding instantly the weight and the grace of those few carefully chosen words. It was not a public proclamation, no grand declaration meant for the annals of history or the cheers of the people. It was something far deeper, far more intimate. It was a testament from beings who had witnessed eons of rise and fall, of power and its corruptions, of true nobility and its counterfeit. This choir affirmation, delivered in confidence to the one who knew Arthur best, was a powerful statement of his true character. It meant that even the ancient gods of the sea, who held the very memory of the world within their depths, recognized that Arthur's greatness was not found in his crown, or in his emerging power as king, or even in the monumental feat of freeing them. No, his true worth, his enduring heroism, resided in something far more intrinsic: the unwavering nobility of his spirit and his steadfast loyalty to those he cared for. It was a profound validation that transcended earthly titles and mortal perceptions. It affirmed that Arthur's true strength lay not in what he commanded, but in who he was. A loyal friend, a selfless protector, a hero by nature, not by circumstance. It was a recognition that spoke volumes about the quiet power of integrity and the lasting resonance of a kind heart in a world often focused on louder, more visible achievements. And so, as the sea gods slowly, gracefully began to recede back into the depths from which they had risen, their legacy was left not just in the restored waters and the returning memories, but in a whispered truth carried by the tides of time, a truth about Arthur that only a trusted friend and the ancient sea truly understood. This story of Arthur, the sea gods, and the unspoken truth speaks to a profound recognition that true heroism often resides not in the grand gesture, but in the unwavering core of who we are. It's a reminder that loyalty, spirit, and friendship are qualities even ancient deities acknowledge as the truest measure of greatness. What aspects of Arthur's character do you find most inspiring? Share your thoughts and reflections in the comments below, or subscribe to our channel for more tales that delve into the quiet depths of legendary truths.